And we're back here on Knights Broadcasting for the second half of this doubleheader between the Comets of Capital University and your Southern Virginia University Knights. I'm Dawson Weidrich alongside Quinn Meyer. That first game of this doubleheader, it was stagnant for a while, but then a lot of action occurred in the bottom of the sixth with the Knights scoring 9 runs on 2 home runs from Ty Martinez. What a way to finish a game.
Yeah, as we were saying, the floodgates opened, and hopefully that leaves the Knights super loose for the second game and able to get a third straight win.
Absolutely. So now starting off this game, the Comets will be batting first. And a change of pitcher for the Knights. Number 2, Nate McCallum will be at the mound. We saw Rock Giles close out the first game. Great drop in center field there. The first batter in the lineup for the Comets is number 5, Reagan Birch. And so maybe we'll see a little bit of repeat of the first game where the Comets really came out swinging, for lack of a better and non-pun intended term, and scored 2 runs. So we'll see if they're able to do that once again. Be a foul ball there.
Yeah, as we've talked about in the last game, the Comets have that great ability to score and run up the score, as they've scored 10-plus points twice this season already. So we'll have to look out for that, and hopefully the Knights can keep their offensive hot streak going as well.
Now at bat for the Comets is number 41, Tristan Burns.
And another thing to look for is hopefully the Knights can, they've obviously proved that in one inning they can explode for 9 runs, but hopefully they can continue to do that in multiple innings rather than just one.
That was a little outside from McCallum. That one popped up. That'll be a foul ball. That'll make it a 2-2 count here in the top of the first. That makes it a full count now. Another well-placed hit into the outfield. This will be another single for the Comets.
In the last game, we saw some steady and really strong pitching from the Knights, from Stockton Hall and Rock Giles. And so far, McCallum a little slow out of the gates, but hopefully he can settle down and recover from these first 2 hits.
So now runners on first and second. Going to be a ball for the first pitch.
And you have to think that the Comets are motivated to get something going here after their big loss against Washington and Lee yesterday in Lexington, 14-2, and being blown out here in Buena Vista a day later
by a score of 11-2. Like you said, I mean, after 2 games like that, there's got to be a fire burning underneath you, especially considering the fact that in that first game of the doubleheader today, they were tied 2-2 for the vast majority of it until one inning where the floodgates just absolutely opened. Knights able to get the out at first. Now runners on second and third.
Bit of a high throw to first base there, but luckily he corralled that and was able to step on the bag. It's a close one, though.
It was very, very close. The throw, like you said, was a little high, but able to recover, get the first out of the top of the first.
And that could have been bad news, too, with the bases loaded, no outs, and they're still in a tough spot, but we've seen the Knights in a jam before, and hopefully they can get out of this one again.
they talked over the throw to first. I think they took the out away. Or maybe they added it back
on
in.
the board, yeah.
So a little bit of conversation as to if he was indeed safe at first base or not. There was the signal of him being safe by one of the umpires, so that caused a little confusion. Now at bat for the Comets, number 44, Ryan McKinney. With Wilson on deck. Hit out into left field. Leonardo brings that down for the second out. And a runner advances home for the Comets. And another runner advances to third. So much similar to the first game of the doubleheader, the Comets able to strike first.
Yeah, that's a tough start. It was a good catch by Marcy in the outfield, but seemed like there's a bit of a miscommunication on where they wanted to go with that throw to either third or home base.
Now at bat is number 7, Hunter Wilson, the sophomore from Hilliard, Ohio. That makes it a 1-2 count. That one just a little outside from McCallum. Evens it up at 2-2. The Knights able to get the out at first and close at the top of the first inning, only allowing 1 run compared to the 2 runs in the first game. So if there's improvement to be had from the first, there's that. So the Knights have a chance to respond here at the bottom of the first. Again, not nearly as much of a hill to overcome compared to the first game whatsoever.
Absolutely. You know, they're not in a new spot. They've been here before, and they know what it takes to climb back into it. And obviously, 1-run deficit is not the end of the world. Not the start you wanted, but they're in a better spot than they were last game.
Absolutely, and just to remind you fellas, folks back home, this is on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe down below. Also, comment down below. Let us know how we're doing and how we can improve your viewing experience of Southern Virginia athletics. Also, be sure to hit that notification bell that we get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting. Now pitching for the Comets to start off this second game is number 8, Kyle Boyles, the junior from Columbus, Ohio. Basically a hometown kid, as Capital is right in the Columbus, Ohio region, very near to The Ohio State University. And batting first for Southern Virginia, much like the first game, is Seth Lloyd. Got a very similar batting order to the previous game, although the 5th batter in the lineup this time around is Marcelino Leonardo. He was not in the lineup for the vast majority of the last game until the 6th inning. We will see a lot more of him in this game.
And Seth has managed to get on base every single time he's been at bat. So we'll see if he can keep it going here.
Like you say, he's been very consistent, either able to get a solid hit on the ball or been able to just simply have a good eye and watch it go by.
Yeah, he's had great patience. It's tough to teach that.
That one right down the middle for Bowles. 2 straight strikes. Makes it a 0-2 count. That one a little high. Lloyd was very tempted by that one. Yeah, swing and a miss. Strikeout number 1. So that's a fantastic start here for Bowles. Now at the bat for the Knights is Will Parker. Again, we mentioned Will Parker's great infield play in the first game, especially early on, setting up a couple of double plays. Take a swing at that one, makes it a 0-1 count. A lot of power behind that one.
The Comets struggled a bit in the first game, maybe to put it lightly, with pitching, so it's a good sign for them early on.
Absolutely. They went through 5 different pitchers in that first game. So we'll see if Bowles can change that trend for them. As that's hit straight to first base, makes it a very easy play for the Comets. And number 44, Ryan McKinney. Actually going to say that it was a foul ball, I believe. There's some conversation here happening between the umpires. Head coach Scott Manahan, who is in his 2nd year with the Comets, talking with the umpires. So it looks like Parker will continue to be at bat. That one a little low, make it a 2-2 count. You always love to make sure that the umpires getting together, make sure they get the right call. You always like to see that communication as a fan of sports.
It's a big moment for Will to get on base there. You know, it's easy to, with 2 strikes, to swing at things, but he showed patience through 2 pitches there and was able to get on base.
And now up to bat for the Knights is number 43, Nick Daines, with number 20, Mitch Smith on deck. So it looks like that was only ball number 3, so some miscalculation and miscommunication at home plate. So Parker will go back and continue to be at bat. That's 2 times now where either he was called out at first and they realized, well, it was actually a foul ball. And they said, oh, you go on to first base, you walked. Actually, that's the 3rd ball.
I guess they just really want to see him hit today.
They want to see him join the ranks. Of course, you had St. John Johnson as well as Ty Martinez both hitting at least 1 home run in the previous game. That's a foul ball for Parker. So it still remains a full count. And a strikeout. So finally, after a couple of different conclusions were reached with Will Parker, he strikes out for out number 2. And now we have Nick Daines up to bat for Southern Virginia. It's been 2 up, 2 down so far in the bottom of the 1st.
Yep, 2 strikeouts swinging. It's what the Comets need on the mound.
Head out to the outfield. Easy catch for Hunter Wilson. the sophomore from Hilliard, Ohio. So 3 up, 3 down for the Comets. The Knights not able to have the offensive response in the early innings like the previous game. But again, still a 1-0 lead for the Comets of Capital University. We'll see if the Comets can continue to build on their minimal lead, and we'll also see if Southern Virginia can come back defensively and have some consistent pitching from Nate McCallum. While we have this break, I want to remind you this is brought to you by Straws Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. Straws Drinks and Eats is a fantastic place to go for great drinks, great treats, and great times. Highly, highly recommend if you're in the Buena Vista, Virginia area, visiting the campus or visiting the beautiful sights of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Make sure to stop on by Straws Drinks and Eats. Straws, thank you so much for your support of Southern Virginia athletics. So again, much like the first game, it's starting to feel like, again, it's very early to tell this, but it's starting to feel like that it's going to be a similar pattern to the first game where both teams refuse to flinch, and then as soon as one team starts to get things going, it trends in their direction for quite a while. So we'll see in this game who blinks first. Up to bat for the Comets is number 48, Ethan Neal, the senior from Richmond, Kentucky. That one low into the outside from McCallum. That one right down the middle. That one had a lot of steam behind it. A little to the inside. Nearly hit Neal. Neal swings at it. That makes it a full count. Very close to hitting Neal's fingers. That was a little high, and he rotated himself with the bat.
Yeah, it was fortunate to go off the bat there. Otherwise, it would have been a hit by pitch or a walk.
Foul ball there, so Neal's keeping himself alive. Another foul ball.
In a battle here.
That's popped up in the center field. Easy catch there for number 43, Nick Daines. So there's the first out. Now to bat is number 21, Logan White, the senior from Newark, Ohio. That's hit to third base and an error in the infield. That'll be a single for White. That's a tough one to corral if you're, third baseman number 10, Will Parker. I mean, that's coming at you like 1,000 miles an hour. Very hard to tell where the bounce is going to go. It sneaks past him for the single.
Yeah, you'd like him to get that one, but as you said, those are tough plays. They're not easy. We see so many times that these third basemen make them look easy, but they're not.
Now up to bat for the Comets is number 1, Grayson Gully. That makes it a 1-0 count.
McCallum going to the inside quite a bit here.
We saw the trend in the first game where a lot of inside pitches got the favor of the umpires. I think Rock Giles definitely took advantage of that one in the first game for Southern Virginia in the last couple of innings. Knights able to get the out at first, but that advances Logan White to second. So now up to bat is number 12, Keelan Lamar. So that's 2 outs. Score remains 1-0 in favor of the Comets here in the top of the second. A swing and a miss there for Lamar. Makes it an 0-2 count. Great opportunity for Nate McCallum to make up for the 1 run given up in the previous inning. Just get the 3rd out right here. And indeed he does. Solid strikeout for Nate McCallum.
It's a good recovery. Knights remembering that one of their big strengths is pitching, and they've been able to get themselves out of jams through strikeouts.
Absolutely, especially against the Comets so far here today. I mean, like you said, it's a good recovery. There were a couple of hits there from the Comets. You had one that snuck past Will Parker at third base, and you're able to get a single out of that. You had 2 runners on base at one point. And then for the Knights to not give up a single run there is fantastic work. And returning to the mound for the Comets is number 8, Kyle Bowles.
And I think, you know, McCallum, Stockton Hall, and Rock Giles, they've shown confidence because clearly the Comets aren't afraid to swing.
Right.
And lots of their strikeouts are swinging. So they're ready to, they're locked and loaded, but the Knights pitchers are showing some confidence on the mound that they can get them out.
They absolutely have. It's been a really great showing so far for them. And once again, during this break, I want to remind you you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know how we're doing and how we can improve these viewing presentations for you, the viewers. And also be sure to click that notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. We thank you for your support of Knights Broadcasting. Number 20, Mitch Smith will be up to bat with Marcelino Leonardo on deck. Again, Quinn, you made this point in the first game how this part of the batting order for Southern Virginia was very successful against the Comets. You know, you had Mitch Smith when you placed back in Marcelino Leonardo, Ty Martinez. And, of course, you also had St. John Johnson, who is not in the lineup for the second game. But we'll see if they can repeat that same success in this part of the order.
Yeah, there's some heavy hitters on this part of the lineup for the Knights, and they showed their potential in the last game.
That one a little outside from Bowles.
You'd like to see the Knights get on base quickly here so they can get into more of a groove.
Again, hopefully breaking that pattern of 1 out taking place.
Good. There it is.
Be a ground rule double.
Ground double.
Fantastic work at bat for Mitch Smith. Able to get the bounce over the wall. Again, we talked about throughout that first game, the Knights had a hard time getting a runner on base before a out has taken place. Finally breaking the pattern right there.
Yep, that's a big moment for them to climb back into it. Seems like though the momentum is in favor of the Comets right now. With a big hit here, it can swing really quickly.
Indeed it can with Marcelino Leonardo at bat. That's a foul ball for Leonardo. Again, he stepped in late in the first game and provided a lot of great offensive relief. Had a solid hit there. Was able to score one of the 9 runs in that 6th inning.
Nice.
Nice hit to center field, dropping it right in front of midfielder.
That's going to score maybe.
or center fielder, excuse me. Yes, indeed, it's a double. Leonardo trying to get to third. Is a triple. And fantastic work at bat for Leonardo.
Again, that part of the batting order paying off big time.
I mean, absolutely. People just think, oh, you just put down your best batter. It doesn't matter what order it is, and that's not true. You have a very well thought out strategy for who you put where in the batting lineup. And of course, head coach of Southern Virginia, Jerry Schlegelmilch, knew exactly what he was doing when he was putting these people in this specific order. And like you said, it's worked incredibly well.
And again, Leonardo, he just scores. And it was a smart decision to put him back into the rotation. And he's been given a great opportunity each time and eventually send Mitch Smith to the home plate.
Indeed, that ties it up at 1 run apiece. Here in the top of the second, another solid hit to the outfield. Bounces just short of the fence. Leonardo is going to score a run here. So an RBI for Ty Martinez. And we talk about Ty Martinez in the first game. In that 6th inning, he had a home run. Then he followed that up in the same inning with a grand slam. Folks, if you've seen a better day for a baseball player, I would need to see some evidence because I wouldn't believe you.
And Leonardo scores for the 3rd consecutive game.
And now up to bat is Stockton Hall, who pitched for the majority of the first game here today and was very consistent, had a couple of strikeouts, including some in his last inning that he was pitching. That first pitch is a ball. Make it a 1-0 count. So now the score stands 2-1 in favor of the Knights. The Knights taking the lead in this one much earlier than the first one. That one brought down by number 7, Hunter Wilson. But that advances Ty Martinez to third base.
And only 1 out so far, too.
Now batting for the Knights, number 19.
Number 19, Robert Stempen will be up to bat. And he has a runner on third in Ty Martinez. It's a very prime scoring position here for Southern Virginia. Pitch a little low from Bowles.
And Bowles seems super comfortable to begin the game, but he's struggled to find a rhythm here in the 2nd inning.
That one a little to the outside. And Stempen, of course, making his first trip to the plate for today's doubleheader. Oh, a nice inside strike from Bowles. Make it a 2-1 count.
You certainly want to get the runner on third base here home.
That one a little low, make it a 3-1 count. Stempen will be followed up by another player making his first appearance at the plate in today's game, number 21, Jackson Massey. Nice, that's going to be an RBI for Southern Virginia. Makes it 3-1. Again, the Knights are placing these hits in perfect positions in the outfield, just in front of the outfielders. Now number 21, Jackson Massey up to bat. He has runner on first in Stempen. And still only 1 out in the bottom of the second. Another solid hit. This will be a single. So back-to-back batters making their first appearance in today's doubleheader with perfectly placed hits to get base hits. Now back to the top of the batting order with number 34, Seth Lloyd.
And the Knights have essentially 12 runs in the last 2 innings. So if there's any doubt in the scoring ability of the Knights, you can put those away now.
You can just toss it right out the window because you just know, like you said, Quinn, that the Knights are very capable, very solid hitters. They have a lot of power behind them, and they can place those hits incredibly well when the occasion needs it. So a little conversation happening for the Comets at the mound. Again, we talked about the fact that the Comets went through 5 different pitchers in the first game, and so that's one thing you don't want to repeat in this second game because, again, that created a lot of inconsistencies. You had to dig deep into your depth chart of pitchers, and, again, just wearing out pitchers this quickly is just never a good thing. A nice bunt. He's out at first. Very, very close for Lloyd. That breaks a streak of having gotten on base every time he's been up to bat. But now runners on second and third with Will Parker up to bat.
It was a really well-placed bunt, though. It's too bad he couldn't get there in time, but now you have runners in scoring position.
You absolutely do. I mean, that was a matter of, I don't even know if it was a matter of inches. It was a matter of centimeters how close that was. That makes it a 1-0 count. So the score still remains 3-1 in the bottom of the second. Into the outfield. Easy catch there for number 41, Tristan Burns. So the Knights get 3 runs in that inning. Doing a fantastic job of fighting back and getting some offensive production from, again, that middle of the batting lineup that you've mentioned, Quinn, has just been so productive for Southern Virginia today. So we'll see if the defense can come up here for Southern Virginia and try to maintain that lead, and we'll see if the Comets can respond. Because that's the thing today is that both teams have had moments where they've responded really well to adversity, where they've responded really well to great defensive play from the opposing side or great batting from the opposing side. And so, again, if we continue to see that, it's just been a great competition overall between these two teams. Two teams that have really refused to back down or refused to give in any way. The only moment where you can kind of make that argument is the 6th inning of the previous game. And other than that, it's been really fantastic work for both teams just responding to each other.
Absolutely, and like you were saying, you know, the last game was 11-2, but really it was a tie game until the very end.
Yeah.
And you know, the Knights were able to get some more hits in that last inning, but so yeah, it's great competition, and both of these are super solid teams, great on defense and obviously great offensively as well.
Absolutely. And now returning to the top of the batting lineup for the Comets is number 5, Reagan Birch. He was the top of the lineup in the previous game as well. As we start the top of the 3rd inning.
McCallum should have some confidence from that previous strikeout.
Just like that, right down the middle from McCallum. That one a little low, make it a 1-1 count. That one just a little inside. Make it a 2-1 count. That one's popped way up. Be a foul ball. And hits the clubhouse here on the side. Another foul ball. This time hits the shack. I mean, I tell you what, Birch must have a grudge against the buildings in this general vicinity. That makes it a full count there.
Yeah, the Comets, they're relentless, and that's why you can never put them away.
Right.
No matter what the score is. even if it's 11-2 at the end of the last game. You want to take care of business because they're going to be out swinging if anything.
Another foul ball off to the left side. But like you said, Quinn, with a team that is capable of scoring like the Comets are, you saw the 11-2 lead that the Knights had, going into the top of the 7th. And even then, it didn't feel like a secure lead.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily because any inability or capability of Southern Virginia, but because, again, the Comets are so capable of, putting a lot of runs up and just getting a lot of good work done defensively.
And that's another awesome thing about the game of baseball is that no team is ever out of it.
Right.
Sure, people can get deflated or maybe overconfident, but things can change super quickly.
Strike there from McCallum. That one a little high. Makes it a 1-1 count. That's popped up, foul ball. Makes it a 1-2 count.
McCallum's been steady after a bit of a shaky start here.
Another foul ball.
They swing.
Indeed, Tristan Burns has really been battling at this at-bat. And a strikeout there from McCallum. Burns swung at that one. That was really inside. You can tell he was getting a little frustrated. He kept on making contact over and over again. Just wanted to get a solid hit. Makes it ill-advised swing. So now up to bat for the Comets is number 23, E.J. Santana. Hit into the outfield. It'll be a good single for Santana. Ryan McKinney up to bat for the Comets with number 7 Wilson on deck. There's 2 outs.
Yeah, this part of the batting order for the Comets had some success last game. So McKinney's a batter to watch here. Had 2 hits last game.
Beautiful pitch right there from McCallum. Makes it an 0-2 count. Solid swing behind that one.
Great
Tracking
catch.
it down, yes indeed. Tracking it down is number 43, Nick Danes, diving for it. And that is the 3rd out. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. The score still stands 3-1 in favor of the Knights of Southern Virginia. So again, we saw a couple of solid hits on the ball from the Comets, but the Knights defensively not giving up an inch that time. As again, the score remains 3-1. And I want to also remind you, you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe. Also be sure to comment down below. Let us know how we can improve your viewing presentation of Southern Virginia athletics. And be sure to hit that notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. So again, the last time the Knights were at bat, they were able to get 3 runs. It'll put in some fantastic work again in that part of the batting order. In the middle part of it with Mitch Smith, Marcelino Leonardo, Ty Martinez, Stockton Hall. Really able to get a lot done. And so the Comets will have to figure something out with pitcher Kyle Bowles. Hopefully they're thinking he can, get back to his confident ways they started off with in the first inning see if they can get a couple of strikeouts, see if they can make some plays in the infield like they did in the first game. Just get back to what they do best defensively, just controlling the tempo and making the plays in the infield. Because, again, when they did that, they shut down the Knights on the offensive side. But when they had those slip-ups in the 6th inning, that's when the floodgates opened for Southern Virginia offensively.
Absolutely. And, you know, as we talked about, there were a lot of errors last game and in this most previous inning. And that's what got the Comets on their heels. They played well for the majority of last game. And so hopefully for their sake they can be a little more consistent in that regard and return to that good defensive form of theirs.
Absolutely. And so now up to bat for Southern Virginia.
Now batting number 43.
Will be number 43, Nick Daines.
Nick had a big double last game. Fly out last at bat.
That one a little outside for Bulls. Another home run for Southern Virginia, Nick Daines. As the 3rd player on this Knights roster to get a home run today.
His previous at-bat, it was a similar hit, just didn't go as far, and this one he labeled.
He definitely called it, and you could hear the sound off the bat. That was a dinger, folks. I mean, goodness gracious, this Knights team has really had a successful day at bat, which, you know, Quinn, we were talking about before the first game. That was something they really struggled with most of the year, getting consistent hits in a row, get some plays, maybe get some runners on base. Today, it feels like a different team. It feels like a team that feels more confident, and they're able to get the solid plays. My goodness, great reaction time from Bowles off the hit from Smith.
Yeah, and a tough bounce there, but as we were saying, the Knights had 1 home run the first few games of this season. And now in just today, they've tripled that, quadrupled that.
In just the past 4 innings alone between these 2 games, the doubleheader. Leonardo swings to the first, and it's a little bit high pitch. Makes that an 0-1 count. A little low to the outside.
And then one thing to watch out for too is, you know, you've had a lot of big hits, lots of home runs here, so but you don't want to lose your patience. You want to be smart, swing at what's there, but not be too greedy.
That's popped way up in the infield. Brought down by first baseman number 44, Ryan McKinney. That makes it 2 outs with Ty Martinez up to bat. Again, we mentioned Ty Martinez had a home run and a grand slam in the 6th inning of the previous game. Talk about adding that to your baseball card stats.
Yeah, hasn't had too many at-bats coming into the day, but he's made the most of it. He's proving himself today.
Solid work in the infield from number 1, Grayson Gully. So 3 quick outs for Southern Virginia in the bottom of the 3rd, and we move to the top of the 4th. The score standing 4-1 in favor of the Knights. So now once again, we'll have to see if the Comets can make a response here offensively against pitcher number 2, Nate McCallum. So far today, it really has not been a success for them, aside from the first inning where they were able to get 1 run pretty quickly. But since then, it's been kind of a dry spell.
Yeah, exactly. And just like last game, they were off to the races, scored pretty quickly. But now it's just a matter of finding that consistency, and then on the defensive end, being able to lock up.
While we have this break, we want to give a shout out to our athletic partners, Straws Drinks and Eats here in Buena Vista, Virginia. If you're visiting the Buena Vista, Virginia area, whether it be to visit Southern Virginia University or to visit the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains here in the area, be sure to go stop by Straws Drinks and Eats in downtown Buena Vista. Great drinks, great treats, and great times. I go there quite frequently. My drink of choice, as I mentioned in the previous game, Doc Pepper, cherry, lime, vanilla, with a little bit of almond cream as well. Can't go wrong with that. Straws, Drinks, and Eats, thank you so much for partnering with Southern Virginia Athletics. Up to bat for the Comets, number 7, Hunter Wilson, the sophomore from Hilliard, Ohio. Great fielding work. The missed throw, though, to McCallum. And it makes it a double for Wilson. So the Knights had a chance to make a play there at first, but the throw was a little wild trying to get it to Nate McCallum.
Yeah, it was a good effort, but it's a tough play to make when you're moving, trying to get the ball in your glove, but also at the same time putting your foot on the bag. So it's a tough break, but hopefully they can settle down and get a couple outs here.
So now you have Wilson at second. Now up to bat is number 48, Ethan Neal. That makes it an 0-1 count. And they get it to first just in the nick of time. That makes 1 out here.
It's a great catch at the first base there. Sometimes a tough one to corral because you're not sure if it's going to hit the ground right before it gets there or if you got to get your glove under it.
Absolutely great work there for number 21, Jackson Massey. Like you said, because again, those bounces, you never know how unpredictable they can be, and able to corral that to get the out. Great effort there. Right down the middle for McCallum. Makes it an 0-1 count. Foul ball. Batting right now for the Comets is number 21, Logan White. Just trying to keep Hunter Wilson in check at second base. Popped up into right field. Brought down easily by number 6, Ty Martinez.
It's good anticipation by Martinez, preventing the runner from advancing to third there.
That makes out number 2. Now with number 1, Grayson Goley up to bat. Again, like you mentioned, Quinn, still a runner on second in Hunter Wilson. That pitch from McCallum a little high.
Second baseman for the Knights staying pretty close to second. Not letting the runner for the Comets get too far.
Yeah, that is Seth Lloyd. Like I said, just trying to make sure Wilson doesn't feel too comfortable making a play. Foul ball there, make it a 1-1 count. That one a little high. make it 2-1. Swing and a miss there for goalie. Make it a 2-2 count. Foul ball, so goalie battling it out. And that makes it a full count. That one just a little low of the strike zone. That's one of those calls that honestly can go either way. That one just high enough to walk goalie to first. So now runners on first and second for the Comets.
It's an important moment here in the game. You're about to approach the second half of the game and want to preserve this 3-run lead, but facing 2 people on base.
With number 12, Keelan Lamar, up to bat. And after that, we'll go back to the top of the batting order with number 5 as Birch. Error on the infield. This could be disastrous for Southern Virginia. And the Knights able to limit the damage as Hunter Wilson only advanced to third and Golney advances to second.
It's a tough moment.
Yeah, if one more thing went wrong there, you could have easily seen another run scored by the Comets.
Exactly, and it's a tough moment, but at the same time, just need one more out. And so McCallum needs to focus on the batter here, not be faced by the runners on second and third, and close it out here.
That went a little inside. Makes it a 2-0 count.
Comets aren't biting too much on the inside pitches right now.
Swing and a miss that time, make it a 2-1 count. And it is interesting you mentioned the inside pitches. That was really the Knights' bread and butter in the previous game. Those really worked a lot, especially for Rock Giles later in the game. He targeted the inside, and that got a lot of strikes where the batters didn't swing at all. Great place from that hit. That'll bring in a runner, possibly 2. Indeed, it will. And it reduces it to a 1-run deficit. So fantastic work there by Lamar. Now again, like I mentioned before, we're back to the top of the batting lineup with number 5, Reagan Birch. So you talk about wanting to get out of this inning, preserving your 3-run lead. Now it's being reduced to 1. Again, you still got to focus on the fact that you have 2 outs. You just got to make a simple play. Play in the infield, make sure you're aware in the outfield, and then also just, if you're McCallum, just focusing on trying to get the strikeout and doing what you can. Out in center field, bringing that one down is Nick Daines. So just like we said, making the play that you need to make. You just, one more out is all you needed. And it brings us to the bottom of the 4th, and the Knights have a chance to respond. So now the score stands 4-3, still in favor of Southern Virginia. But again, the Comets did a great job at bringing it back within 1 run and making things a little bit more manageable for themselves. Like you mentioned, Quinn, earlier, going into the second half of this game, of the second game of the doubleheader. And when it comes to doubleheaders, there's one fascinating thing about it, is the fact that you obviously don't want to drop 2 games, and if you lose the first one, it's not the end of the world. You learn from it, you figure out what you can do, and you're facing off against the exact same team for the most part. There's some slight changes here and there, but you can make adjustments. You can change things up. If you notice some tendencies, you can approach those and try to respond accordingly. And so you're seeing so far both teams doing that same thing here in this one. We'll see if the Comets can continue this trend of trying to come back.
Yeah, and really during the entire day, it's been back and forth. It's been a pretty even matchup, and hopefully the Knights will be able to continue their hot streak in the batter's box.
Absolutely, and another pitching change for the Comets. This time it's number 53, Noah Bromberg, the freshman from Pepper Pike, Ohio. The Comets have now gone through seven different pitchers in this doubleheader, which can we talk about the strain that puts on your bullpen, your depth chart of pitchers. It makes it really difficult to have consistency if you're going through them as quickly as the Comets have today. The Knights faced a similar problem in their first home outing against Penn State Mont Alto. I think they had a very similar number of pitchers they went through in that contest where pitchers just weren't comfortable. They weren't getting into a rhythm. They had to cycle them out. But the impressive thing about it is that in spite of that, it's still been pretty tight considerably between both these teams.
Yeah, the Comets haven't gotten super consistent pitching since, honestly, Woodyard exited I think it was in the 3rd or 4th inning of the first game. So they'll look to ride the ship here.
At bat for Southern Virginia, change in the lineup, number 23, Jake Watson, the senior from Ellicott City, Maryland. That makes it a 2-0 count. This is the first time we're seeing him today. That one a little to the outside. Makes it a 3-0 count. And just like that, Watson will walk to first. So a rough start here for Bromberg as he throws 4 straight balls.
It's the theme of the day for the Knights. Get on base and good things will happen. They have faced a lot of balls and a lot of walks, but can't complain with that.
And it looks like up next in the batting order for Southern Virginia will be number 19, Robbie Stempen. A little conversation being had at the mound. Another pitching change. This time it's number 3, Brennan Newell. Brennan Newell, the senior from Marion, Ohio.
It's interesting to think what the thought process might be for the Comets right now. I guess the coaches just haven't been super comfortable with who they've been sending out, and obviously the Knights hitters are super confident.
And during this short break, want to remind you, you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know how we're doing, and be sure to click that notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knight Broadcasting. I want to give a shout out to those who make this broadcast possible, including the producers, the camera workers, those who set up, those who work in athletics. This presentation of Southern Virginia Athletics would not be possible without you.
Stempen, he's only had a couple of at-bats this year, but he's managed to get a hit in those 2 at-bats.
And Stempen faces, like we mentioned before, a new pitcher in Brennan Newell. That'll make it an 0-1 count. That was a nice sinker there for Newell. That one just a little low. Got a really quick wind up for Newell.
I think a bonus here for the Knights is that they felt pretty comfortable hitting the ball this afternoon. And because of that, they've been able to put different guys in their rotation, and we've been able to watch and learn from those who have had success so far. That way they can all have experience.
Absolutely. With that, number 23, Jake Watson, advances to second. And that was a strikeout there. Now at bat for Southern Virginia. And we're back to the top of the lineup now. We have another rotation here in the lineup with number 21, Jackson Massey. Actually, I want to correct myself. This is the bottom of the batting lineup for Southern Virginia. Seth Lloyd is on deck. That's popped straight up. And brought down by number 5, Regan Birch. That makes it 2 outs. So the Knights still have a runner on second. But we've seen some great work so far from number 3, Brendan Newell.
Now batting number 34, Seth Lloyd.
And now we're back to the top of the lineup with Seth Lloyd. Like I mentioned in the previous inning, it was his first time today not getting on base, as he was thrown out at first. And make that second time. As that's 3 outs now, the Knights not able to get anything going offensively. As we move on to the top of the 5th, the Knights maintain a 4-run-to-3 lead over the Comets of Capital University. But again, the previous inning, the Comets able to get 2 runs scored, and will make things a little bit more interesting. So we'll see if the Comets can continue that momentum swing.
Yeah, it should be a good test for the Knights to work on preserving leads. You know, every single game presents a unique opportunity to learn and to grow. And the Knights enter the back half of this game with a 1-run lead, and hopefully can find a way to preserve it all the way to the end.
Absolutely, and another pitching change for Southern Virginia. This time it's number 15, Ryan Ferris, the freshman from Greenville, Virginia. This is the first time we've seen him today. Again, we talk about the pitching changes for the Comets. It's been much less frequent for Southern Virginia. The Knights only going through 3 or 4 pitchers so far in today's 2 games. In fact, you had Stockton Hall pitch for the majority of the first game. Then you had Rock Giles come in. Then you had Nate McCollum start out the second game. And now in comes Ryan Ferris. This is only the 4th pitcher they have had on the mound compared to the 8 or possibly 9 for the Comets so far today.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you get super consistent pitching, and fortunately for the Knights, each one of their pitchers has just been on their A game.
So again, we'll see if Ryan Ferris can help the Knights close out this one. As again, we enter the top of the 5th. I want to remind you, these double headers, they only go to 7 innings rather than the 9 we're used to seeing in single games. It's only 2 innings remaining for the Comets to either tie things up or to take a lead, or for the Knights to respond and try to maintain their lead. That one a little outside for Ferris. That one a little low into the inside. Makes that a 2-0 count. That one popped straight up. Danes able to get underneath it. So a quick first out.
Now batting number 23,
It's another thing I've noticed is that the outfielders for the Knights have been super comfortable. Not many errors at all in this afternoon, so that's another bright spot for this team.
Now up to bat for the Comets is number 23, E.J. Santana.
Santana is another guy that's been able to get on base pretty often for the Comets, so he'll be a batter to watch here.
That one a little inside. Makes it a 1-1 count. That one dropped a little low. Make it a 2-1 count. That one low into the outside. And no runners on base. 1 out, top of the 5th. That's the pitch that Ferris needed, right down the middle. Able to make it a full count. And Santana will walk to first.
Now batting number 44, Ryan McKinney.
Now we got number 44, Ryan McKinney, up to bat for the Comets, with Wilson on deck. That's popped up. Be a foul ball.
McKinney with 2 hits last game. Another big hitter for the Comets.
And especially considering you have a runner on first, he could make some dangerous things happen for Capital. That one a little to the inside.
So just like the Knights have had a hot spot in their rotation, McKinney and Santana has been a hot spot for the Comets this afternoon.
That one right down the middle for Ferris. That makes it a 1-2 count. Foul ball.
Ferris has been under control so far. He's encountered the toughest part of the Comets rotation right now, and was just a couple inches from striking out Santana, and hopefully he can strike out McKinney here.
That one's popped up. Another foul ball. And it stays a 1-2 count with 2 outs. There's the double play. Listen, there's a catch interference.
And the Comets seemed stunned, but the ump seemed pretty confident about that call.
So that gets in the 3rd out here, and the Knights will get back to bat. And I think the one who was most stunned was number 2, Ryan Brophy, who was running to second and had slid in as the Knights were attempting to make the double play. So now we get to the bottom of the 5th with the Knights still maintaining a 4-runs-to-3 lead over the Comets of Capital University. So much similar to the first game of the doubleheader. You had a couple of runs from both teams early on, and then a lot of stagnation offensively for a couple of innings. So if the pattern holds true, we should expect to see a rush of runs here
Yeah.
any minute now within the next, bottom or top inning or so. And again, that's just been the pattern all day. These two teams, we talk about Quinn, how these two teams are very evenly matched. They kind of share some strengths and weaknesses, but they also have some strengths the other team is weak at or weak at the other team is strong at. It's a very compatible team so far today that's really provided great baseball entertainment for us today.
Yeah, exactly. And, we hope that another batter on the Knights will break out here and you continue this spree of home runs. But, yeah, so this is a great matchup for both teams, and they'll be able to learn from each other, and hopefully Capital University leaves today with good feelings about SVU in this part of the country, because they've traveled pretty far from home to be in Lexington yesterday and then Buena Vista today.
Absolutely. They've played, two different teams within 15 minutes of each other. And now up to bat for Southern Virginia's number 10, Will Parker, with number 43, Nick Daines, on deck. Fantastic pitch there from Brennan Newell. And Brennan Newell so far, since stepping in, he really looks calm and collected out there. It's the first pitch we've seen from the Comets that really feels like he's confident up there since Woodyard. We had some good work from a bunch of the pitchers in between, but one that's felt consistently confident.
Yeah, he's held the Knights scoreless the past couple of innings, and really without any hits. So he's come in and done his job well.
That ball makes it a 2-1 count. Good infield play here for the Comets. So Park will be thrown out at first.
That's another really good play made in the infield. It's tough to grab those because you can't get your body in front of it, but he managed to get a glove on that and send it right over for the out.
Now up to bat for Southern Virginia's number 43, Nick Daines, with Mitch Smith on deck. Newell with the strike.
Nick's also coming off of a home run recently, so should have some confidence coming up to the plate.
Again, one of the three batters for Southern Virginia with a home run. The first three coming in the 6th inning of the previous game. You had St. John Johnson with the first, then you had Ty Martinez with one home run, then a grand slam. Then you mentioned Nick Daines here in this one.
And all of these hits today, all of these home runs, it's got to go a long way. Because as we talked about earlier, baseball, a lot of it is mental. You got to stay in it, you got to stay focused. And if you're not, you're likely going home with no hits. And another really good hit by Nick Daines.
It rolls to the outfield, difficult to manage, and it ends up being a single for Daines.
Nick Daines, another one of those players for the Knights who you're kind of waiting to break out, and he's been able to do that here in this game.
Now to bat for Southern Virginia is number 20, Mitch Smith. Again, you have a runner on first. That makes it an 0-2 count. Again, Newell has just been fantastic so far. Again, you had the hit previously from Daines, but other than that, he's really not giving up a whole lot. And advancing to first that time is Smith. unfortunate situation for Newell's. Again, he's been doing fantastic, and to have that pitch go right for him. So now runners on first and second with Marcelino Leonardo up to bat. I mean, when you have runners on first and second, or runners on base in general, Leonardo, he's the last person you want to see if you're the Comets.
Exactly, and especially the last couple of games. As we said, he just scores, and with 2 people on base, it's a recipe for success.
That one right down the middle for Newell. Again, that sinker for Newell is just effective right now against Leonardo.
That's a good-looking pitch.
You know, sometimes as a commentator we want to elaborate more, but sometimes that's all I can really say. That's just that's just a really good pitch. And that's popped straight up and brought down by number 5, Regan Birch. Make it out number 2, so still runners on first and second. Now number 6, Ty Martinez up to bat.
Now batting for the Knights, number 6, Ty.
I'm sure, folks, if you've been watching these 2 games today, you know the praise we've been singing for Ty Martinez so far today, and it's been well deserved. The 1 home run, then the grand slam the next time he was up at bat. So we'll see if he's able to make some magic here in the bottom of the 5th. That first pitch makes it a 1-0 count. That one a little inside.
They're not giving Ty too much. They know he's a threat. He's on a hot streak and don't want to give him anything easy.
That one an inside strike. Make it a 2-1 count.
Great
Down to
hit.
right field, indeed, fantastic. And that's going to get Danes into home and increase the Knights' lead to 5 runs to 3. Good RBI there for Ty Martinez. Add that to the stat sheet for today. He's gotten a home run. He's gotten a grand slam. He's gotten an RBI. He's gotten a single. He just needs a double and a triple, and he's got the whole shebang.
Now batting number 23.
Sometimes you think, where was he the past few weeks?
Well, the Knights are definitely glad that he is performing well today. Up to bat for the Knights is number 23, Jake Watson. He was able to get on base the last time. Maybe a foul ball off the right side.
And it's good to see another score. In the past couple of innings, the Comets defense has been playing quite well. They've been getting steady pitching, and the outfield has made good plays. But it's good to see the Knights break through again.
And that strike makes it an 0-2 count. Another foul ball. I think it's a smart decision for Watson to swing at that inside pitch because, again, we've talked about how the umpires have liked those inside pitches and been calling strikes on those very frequently. That's hit to left field, another solid hit, and another RBI for Southern Virginia. Martinez makes it to third. Again, extending the Knights' lead to 6 runs to 3. And a meeting here at the mound for the Comets. And so we talked about how Newell was pitching very well and very confidently, and one of the more confident pitchers we've seen for the Comets today since Woodyard. But now we're starting to see a little cracks in the foundation a little bit here. The Knights are starting to figure him out. I'd expect to see a change at the mound pretty soon, if not right now. Indeed, we will.
There it is.
Number 35, Casey Wilkins.
Yeah, the Comets just haven't managed to get, more than 2 solid innings from their pitchers. Aside from Woodyard at the beginning, he was quite steady, but since then they just can't find a groove.
Wilkins, a freshman from Ontario, Ohio. Get a couple of more pitches here. We're waiting to see if they adjusted the scoreboard here. Indeed, it is now 6 runs to 3 in favor of the Knights of Southern Virginia. Again, we talked about how they were kind of holding on by a thread to this lead where it was just 4 to 3. And now they've really been able to respond, and they recognize, hey, we got to get something going right now offensively, or else it's going to be too close for comfort. To number 35, Casey Wilkins. He's a left-handed pitcher. He's the second one we've seen from the Comets today. The first one we saw earlier was number 46, Joey Womble. Womble was in the game for only a couple of batters and then was taken out pretty quickly, so we'll see how long they keep this left-handed pitcher. Number 19, Robbie Stempen, will be batting for Southern Virginia. That one a little to the inside. And he saw that one stay in his hand a little too long there for Wilkins.
This is a great opportunity for Robbie to get on the board here, get a big hit. There's been lots of other Knights who have come into their own this game after a slow start to the season, and he could add to that.
He absolutely could. That one right down the middle from Wilkins. And he also has runners on first and third. So again, like you said, plenty of opportunity to make a play here. That one just a little outside makes it a 3-1 count.
It was outside, but that was a good-looking pitch.
It really was. You could have easily called that a strike. Good swing on that one from Stempen. Makes it a full count. That one a little high to the outside. Now bases loaded for Southern Virginia with Jackson Massey up to bat.
That seems to be the difference so far. I think that when the Knights have been faced with a full count, they've been able to respond with a strikeout or a quick out. But for the Comets, they've struggled in those situations, and the Knights hitters have taken advantage of that.
They absolutely have, in another meeting at the mound here for the Comets. I would be surprised to see another pitching change happen, but in fact, they will change it up once again. The amount of pitchers they've used in today's doubleheader is now reaching in the double digits.
I've lost count.
I do believe it is now up to 10 pitchers they have utilized. This new pitcher being number 25, Garrett Montgomery. He's a senior from Newark, Ohio. So again, the two left-handed pitchers that Capital has used have only been in for a couple of batters. Very, very minimal usage of those pitchers. So we will see what he is capable of, and with this short break, I want to remind you, you're watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like Comment down below. Let us know how we're doing. Be sure to subscribe as well. And be sure to click that notification bell. That way you get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. And also want to give another shout out to our athletic partners, Straws Drinks Needs here in Buena Vista, Virginia. Great drinks, great treats, and great times. Highly, highly recommend. If you're coming up here to view the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains or coming up to see Southern Virginia University, be sure to stop on by Straws Drinks and Eats. So now we sit here, bottom of the 5th inning. Knights hold a 6-runs-to-3 lead. You know, you've gone through a couple pitchers in this inning, and you have bases loaded. I mean, if you're the Comets, your worst case scenario, obviously, of course, is what happened in the 6th inning of the previous game, where you have Ty Martinez come on in here, hit a grand slam, and just blow the game wide open. And now, of course, right now you have number 19, Robbie Stempen, up to bat.
Yeah, I guess the only hope for the Comets is that they don't get around to Ty Martinez again in this inning.
That one just a little low. Pardon me, it's number 21, Jackson Massey, who's up to bat. So we'll make it a 1-0 count. Foul ball.
Nothing wrong with swinging big on bases loaded.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's worked out pretty well for Southern Virginia today.
So far, yeah.
Hit out into right field. It'll work once again. And I'll have a couple runs scored here.
And I could be mistaken, but I think with those 2 runs, the Knights just today have equaled their total runs for the season.
I mean, you
Offensive
talk about
explosion.
absolutely. Talk about just showing what you're capable of, and we're trying to get confirmation. In fact, it was 2 runs scored. So now the score is 8-3 in favor of Southern Virginia. Now with Seth Lloyd up to bat, runners on first and second. Pardon me, it's number 33, Tyson Toller, who was at first. Nice inside strike there from Garrett Montgomery. So it's a 1-1 count, still 2 outs. So again, if you're the Comets, you just need to make 1 play. But sometimes that can be the most frustrating part of the situation. But they will do it at first base, get the 3rd out, but not until the Knights extend their lead to 8-3. Now going to the top of the 6th inning. Chances are running out if you're the Comets.
Absolutely. They need to make something happen quickly.
And to get a couple of things together, get some people on base, get a couple of solid hits. And that's one thing, again, we talk about consistency offensively. Usually we're referring to Southern Virginia throughout the season with that comment, but now it's Capital that's struggling with that today. They've had a couple of innings, especially early on, where things have gone well for them. And then in these 2 games, after that, it's just been tough sledding.
Yeah, the roles reversed. It's almost that you expect the Knights to get a couple of runs each time they get up to bat.
And still pitching for Southern Virginia is number 15, Ryan Ferris. Again, if my memory does serve me correct, this is only the 4th pitcher for Southern Virginia today. And I think that's also the main theme of this doubleheader is the fact that the Knights just been having consistent pitching overall. Again, only the 4th one they've gone through, whereas Capital, they've gone through 10, possibly 11 pitchers up to this point. And again, it's just about being comfortable. The Knights obviously being in their home field right now where they practice every single day. They're very comfortable here, able to get into a good rhythm. And also, again, we consider the fact that Capital played yesterday against a very strong program in Washington and Lee. There are a lot of different factors that contribute to that. That one's popped up to midfield. This is Danes. Gets underneath it. Quick first out.
Another good catch from Nick Danes.
He's been very busy in center field today.
Now batting number 48.
Now number 48 for the Comets up to bat. That is Ethan Neal. Right down the middle for Ferris.
Yeah, each pitcher that comes in for the Knights doesn't miss a beat.
Foul ball there for Neal, so makes it an 0-2 count. Have to throw it to first to get him out. And he'll be safe at first after essentially his body got in the way of the ball as they're trying to throw it to first base. So a little bit of luck there for the Comets.
Now batting number 21.
So now up to bat is number 21. That is Logan White. That one a little high from Ferris. Fantastic hit down the left side. It'll be a double for him as Neal will advance to third. So now just like that, the Comets are in prime scoring position.
As we talked about earlier, things in baseball can change super quickly. And another big hit. The Comets get a couple more runs on the board, and it's only a 2 or 3 run game.
It makes you think, you know, commentating a lot of different sports here for Knights broadcasting, you know, that's a similar thing you can say for any sport. Anything can happen. All of a sudden a momentum shift can happen to where, you know, a team comes back from behind. It makes you just realize just how similar, yet very different a lot of sports are, but yet in so many ways, similarities all across the board. Right down the middle for Ferris, make it a 1-1 count. That's the beautiful thing about sports, is that any given moment, something can happen that changes everything about the game. Another strike, make it a 1-2 count.
We saw Parker last week get into a jam, and then Stockton Hall earlier today. Let's see if Ferris can find his way out of this one.
And Logan White, kind of a hesitant swing on that one. Didn't even fully follow through, but he swung just enough for the strike. It'll make the infield play to first. That's 2 outs now.
4.
Indeed, they got a run in for the Comets. Makes it 8 runs to 4.
Now batting number 12.
And a runner on third. Up to bat now for the Comets is number 12, Keelan Lamar. That was a little high to the outside for Ferris. That makes it a 2-0 count. That makes it a 2-1 count. We've seen a lot of good production from Lamar as well today. Able to make a couple of solid hits whenever they needed it. Beautiful pitch there from Ferris. Makes it a 2-2 count.
Again, with 2 outs, runner on third. Focus on the batter and try and get the third out.
And he is hit in the helmet. You can see the frustration from Ferris, knowing that he had him.
Yeah, he had him in a good spot. Really good pitch before that. It's a tough break.
And Keelan Lamar will advance to first. So now runners on first and third. And again, much like the previous inning with the Comets, it's just one play away. You just got to make one simple play, get a couple of good pitches together, and then you're back at bat. It'll be a foul ball.
It's a fortunate foul for the Knights. That gets past. It's a run and another one on third, I think.
Indeed, it definitely would have been, as a great placement there. But that makes it an 0-1 count. A little low to the inside. And again, you have number 21, Logan White, on third. That one a little high. Make it a 2-1 count. That one's popped up into center field. Here's Danes. Once again, there's the third out play that you needed. And that brings us to the bottom of the 6th. So much similar to the first game today, the ball's in the Knights' court right now. You have this inning to maybe get a run or two strung together, or at least get some offensive momentum going, get some people on base. And then the top of the 7th, you have the Comets up to bat. And if you hold them there, the game's over once again.
Yep, the Knights used another inning of big offense to take a commanding lead, and if you get 1 or 2 runs here, it doesn't wrap it up completely, but you have a lot of confidence going into the final inning.
And you have a lot of buffer, a lot of room to, if you do make a mistake here and there in that top of the 7th inning, you can have that, and it's excusable because you have enough of a cushion of a lead to where it doesn't really affect you all that much. But again, you still have to close out. You still have to play lights out defense, got to make sure that you do your job. But it does give you the extra level of comfort with your lead and a little bit more confidence to play around with.
Yeah, exactly. To your point, it's nice to be able to make an error and have it not cost you the game.
Right.
But at the same time, you want to go 100%. It's a game. Finish it out the right way.
So again, the score right now for those who are recently tuning in is 8-4 in favor of the Knights of Southern Virginia in the bottom of the 6th.
Now batting for the Knights, number 10,
Will Park will be up to bat for Southern Virginia. We haven't seen a whole lot from him today as far as defense is concerned, at least in the second game. The first game was very active very early on. But since then, we just haven't seen a whole lot, so he's definitely looking to change that here.
Yeah, hasn't gotten too much going in the batter's box.
That one right down the middle for Montgomery. That makes it an 0-2 count. And a strikeout. So if you're the Comets, that's exactly what the doctor ordered.
Now batting for the Knights, number 43, Nick Danes.
Nick Danes up to bat. He's honestly been the outfielder MVP so far for Southern Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
I believe the vast majority of catches in the outfield have been made by him.
Yeah, he's an asset defensively, and then he's also been a big hitter today. A home run, a big double in the last game, and then I think either a single or another double in this game as well.
Again, nearly getting the trifecta when it comes to batting in baseball. That makes it a 1-1 count. Make it a 1-2 count. So Montgomery really feeling comfortable right now. That one just a little low. Evens it up at 2 apiece.
He's been able to sink some nicely in the zone. Not that time, but he's been pitching well.
That one a little to the outside makes it a full count. Another strikeout from Montgomery. So again, I talked about how the Knights wanted to get something together offensively, maybe get a run or two just to extend their lead a little bit. But the Comets doing exactly what they need to do with strong pitching from Montgomery and trying to get back at bat. As a foul ball here for Smith. And we have Mitch Smith at bat with Marcelino Leonardo on deck with 2 outs.
Back in that part of the rotation where the guys are feeling good.
Another foul ball. And another foul, I believe is what they called that one. Barely skimmed that one. Pop straight up. And 3 quick outs. That one brought down by number 7, Hunter Wilson, the sophomore from Hilliard, Ohio. So again, exactly what the Comets needed as we go into the top of the 7th. And the Comets have one last chance to try to even things up or take the lead. If not, the game ends right there, similar to how the first game wound up for the Comets.
Yeah, that's exactly the type of inning that the Comets needed. Gives them an opportunity to get back in this thing.
And so if you're Southern Virginia, you're obviously disappointed. You didn't get anything going. You didn't get anybody on base at all. You had 3 up, 3 down. But defensively, you just got to lock in mentally and just realize, hey, let's do our job, get some solid pitches. If there's a play in the infield, let's make it. Let's not have any errors. Let's just do our job and get out of here with 2 straight victories today.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're the Knights, you're able to close this thing out with a solid victory. It's an excellent day. You've come in and improved on something that you struggled with, which was scoring, hitting the ball, and combine that with solid defensive play, good pitching that they've been getting. They're going to improve a lot during the year.
Absolutely, and the Knights making one more change at the mound with number 10, Will Parker, just the 5th pitcher the Knights have used in today's doubleheader. So Knights will rely on him to close this one out.
Parker closed well last week against Ferrum. Earned a save in that game.
Indeed he did, so we'll get to see how he pulls it off today. And one last time, we want to thank you for watching this on Knights Broadcasting here on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know how we're doing and how we can improve your viewing presentation for Southern Virginia Athletics. And be sure to click that notification bell that we get notified every single time we go live with Southern Virginia Athletics. Thank you so much for supporting Knights Broadcasting. One more shout out to all the producers, camera workers, athletics workers that make these broadcasts possible. We appreciate you.
Now batting number 41, Tristan Burns.
Batting for the Comets is number 41,
Parker.
Tristan Burns. That has popped up. And who should bring it down? Who else but Nick Danes?
Yeah, he's been all over it today.
And a quick out.
Now batting number 18, Robbie Harrison.
And number that is hit up into the outfield. It might. And that is out of here. That is number 18, Robbie Harrison. That makes it 8 runs to 5. So, I mean, they had the quick out, but then right there, you know, Robbie Harrison summoning his own inner Ty Martinez to try to bring things a little closer.
We've seen a healthy amount of home runs today.
Any fans of batting highlights should be very excited to see what has happened in this doubleheader today.
Absolutely.
Again, we had the 2 in the first game for Southern Virginia. We had 1 from Southern Virginia, and then now the first from the Comets.
Will Parker, he's a confident pitcher, so I expect that'll be able to recover well here. Nice
Martinez,
catch.
indeed. Yes, he had to dive over a teammate in order to get to that one. So 2 outs really quickly.
Now batting for the Comets, number 7.
Number 7, Hunter Wilson at bat. So you had the 1 home run from Harrison, but now you're facing 2 outs. We could see this game ending within the next couple of pitches. Nice first pitch from Parker.
There's been a lot of highlights for the Knights today. But it's tough to argue anything over Ty Martinez today.
Nice
one
placement
sent his way
there.
again.
So that'd be a single for number 7, Hunter Wilson. So the Comets doing a great job at fighting back and trying to stay alive in this one. And now up to bat is number 48, Ethan Neal.
Again, you can't count them out. They get 1 more person on base. They're 1 home run away from tying it.
That one a little inside. Make it a 1-0 count. That one low into the outside. And I mean, folks, you've obviously saw the first score of the game, or the score of the first game being 11-2. That really doesn't tell the whole story. It's a lot closer than that score makes it seem. But if you like intense moments in baseball, we've had plenty of them in this doubleheader. Had plenty of moments of bases loaded, or where there's a lot at stake, trying to maintain a lead or trying to take a lead. We've seen it all today, folks.
It's a good looking inside pitch there from Parker.
Indeed it is, making it a 2-1 count. Foul ball there, make it a 2-2 count.
As shown last week against Ferrum, Parker's a good guy to have on the mound at the end of games. Let's see if he can close it out here.
Indeed, he has shown he is capable of handling that pressure.
just like that.
Indeed, and that'll do it, folks. The Knights close out the 8-run-to-5 victory and winning both games this doubleheader against the Comets of Capital University. And again, doing it in a way that we haven't seen a whole lot of so far this year. Really putting a lot of points on the board, multiple home runs, a grand slam to boot. I mean, you had everything that the Knights been working on all season long that they did well today.
Yeah, certainly. It should give notice to the rest of the USA South that the Knights, they can pitch well, play good defense, and they can hit.
Absolutely.
And that's all to put it together.
Indeed, and then they're coming into their own. And again, just fantastic game from both sides of the conversation. You saw some great moments from the Comets, some great hits from Southern Virginia. Again, if you're a fan of baseball, these are a doubleheader that you would absolutely love to see. So we appreciate you tuning in today with us on Knights Broadcasting. Once again, I'm Dawson Wiedrich alongside Quinn Meyer. We appreciate you joining us today for this presentation of Southern Virginia Athletics. Good night, God bless, and go Knights.